do that, but the rest of it was just a total distraction. But anyway, that's a whole.
Where did you teach?
I taught studio art, drawing, design, sculpture at Oakland Community College for 48 years.
Wow.
I started the art department at the Auburn Hills campus in 1968 when I
Wow.
graduated from graduate school, and I stayed there through three different periods of time when we moved to three different buildings until we finally got our own building, an E building. So I was there when they were Quonset huts,
Wow.
when it was still the residue of the Nike site.
Uh-huh.
And we
Wow.
taught in block buildings that had been offices.
I
And
remember those. I remember
you
those.
remember
Wow.
those?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
well, that's
do.
when I got there in 68. And yeah, so
Wow.
I ran the art department there until 2016.
You know, our real passion is
Who?
education. Our real passion is education.
Well, I get it. It's been my passion for most of my life. I mean, I could have retired, decades before I did, and I didn't retire because I was concerned about them. There was always this pressure hanging over us that they were going to dismantle the program. And, it used to be that Orchard Ridge was the center of the art department, but the program that I developed at Auburn Hills was a larger, more comprehensive program that met the needs of a greater variety of interests. And I knew myself that it was ultimately going to end up being the center of the art program, but no one would believe me. And now it is, because they closed down Highland Lakes, because they sold it, and the program in Royal Oak is minimal, and the geographics of
Wow.
Southfield and Farmington have become nominal, and most people,
Wow.
the greater amount of people live out in this area and north of us. So Auburn Hills has become really a magnet, for the population in Oakland County as far as the community college goes. So it's
You were
the
you were
program is.
you were 5 decades ahead of your time.
Well, I had a vision to build a program once I started, and I was very fortunate that I had a couple of deans who were very cooperative and understanding. And I got a big grant from the state of Michigan way back in 80 in the 80s to buy equipment, and
Wow.
I got a new building, as a result of lobbying the college and having
Wow.
some, very supportive deans. And so, what it is what it is. And, a lot of people don't really know how it came into being, but, I'm
Wow.
sharing it with you just because
Wow.
we're talking about, education. So
Yeah.
I've
So
always,
are you tracking education right now?
pardon?
Are you tracking education right now? Do
I
you
only
know?
track I only track education as it appears in different websites on my phone, like through the state of Michigan
Uh,
and
did you see
um,
the Growing Michigan Together report?
Growing Michigan Together.
Yeah, the governor's report on education, where
No,
she
I didn't. I
outs.
haven't seen the report itself.
We're going to get you. We're going to send you that report.
Do that.
So she outed education for all the reasons that you just cited, and was we were part of a conversation with them and Brenda Carter to get some appropriations to address this problem. And this problem that she pointed out is about, in her mind, the taxpayers who are leaving. The state of Michigan is 43rd in the country.
Oh, I
The,
know it's very low.
and the country is 36th in the world.
Yeah,
Enough
I know.
said.
I know
Enough said.
reading and
So
math
here's
are
the
very
magic.
low.
Here's the magic, and you just described it, and you'll know it as sure as we're talking here. The dollars that are spent on education in the state of Michigan is 56 billion every year.
Okay.
And the problem that we have is huge. But they will tell you we don't have the money to fix it. What they mean is they don't know what to do to fix it.
Well, they don't have any vision or leadership.
Right.
Right.
You
Right.
said it all. You said you had a vision.
But you
That's
just
part of
but you
that's
just
part of the
described it. But you just described it. And here's the killer issue. And this is what we're on the verge of proving to them because they don't understand. It isn't about the money, but of course it's about the money, but it isn't about the money in terms of instruction. The instruction model that we use is to put everybody in the automobile factory. Still, even though we don't have automobile factories today, it's still the model we're teaching to. And the real
well,
shift,
the thing is that they're right now that they're still focused on that, but they're focused on it at a different level, but they're also very focused on the trades. And
right,
so those programs are not educational in the from a liberal arts instructional point of view.
right,
People aren't being educated, they're being trained. There's
right,
Right.
right,
there's a difference.
Thank
right.
you.
Now we're going to get right to it, though. You just described it, and guess what? The thing that you described, the motivation element of learning, is free. It's called curiosity, which is
Right.
at the heart of everything creative and imaginative and the future tense. This is what we're attempting to prove to them. And we know that it works, and you certainly know that it works. You lived it, and you're still living it. And it's
Yeah.
free. And it's free. Now, the problem they have is they had 650 million that they were going to take away from the pension fund, the underfunded pension fund. And they got a little bit of heat when the governor first made that available to everyone. They got a little bit of heat. And so they shifted from we're not going to take the money from the pension fund. We're just not going to have you contribute to your pension fund to the tune of 650 million. You can use the money any way you wish. In other words, to continue the failure. So
Yeah,
now we're at a point where we're going to bring creativity and imagination to bear on the problem and change the instructional model to reflect curiosity and imagination as opposed to a trained proposition for something that no longer exists.
it's true. I mean, I watched it. I observed it all happening over the period of the my entire career as an educator. And you
Well,
know, when I first came to Oakland Community College was dealing with a very innovative educational model, and that was before they started the trade programs. And I mean, they always intended on having the trade programs as in any event. I mean, that was part of the mandate, I believe, initially, but nevertheless, there was a lot more encouragement for development in the liberal arts. Uh, but as time moved on, that became lesser and lesser, and it became more of a focus on industrial arts in relation to the automotive industry. Absolutely.
right,
Um, I don't have a problem with people um, educating themselves in industrial technology and being able to find their way into a well-paying job. But
right,
I do believe that those people ought to be educated beyond just skills. And you know, because they need to be understand, you know, the process of creativity, like you said, and problem solving. You
Right.
know, I mean, problem solving is a huge part of liberal arts education, you know,
Right.
and a lot of people don't understand, you know, how you can learn about problem solving, you know, through different aspects of your exposed experience in the humanities, say, for example. But
Yes.
yeah, we've had this ongoing conversation, and I'm not involved with OCC at all uh, anymore. I mean, I left OCC completely. Um, and but you know, I still am who I am, you know, and
Well,
you hear
you,
my voice.
you just said something really interesting, though. They don't understand,
And
and they're not going to understand. But guess what? On the way to the bank, the world has changed.
Right.
And
yeah.
the future is about the knowledge economy and technology and the way in which that impacts the world.
Oh, I know. I read what's his name's book. I know what you're talking about. The university professor from Toronto. The knowledge. You know,
Oh,
Oh,
um,
the creative cities guy, right? What's
I
your
think
what?
city?
so.
Yeah, I
He's
forgot
he's
his.
oh my God, we know him. We have his
Peter
book.
Peter Senge
No, no.
was
The one we know, the statistician that's but he's the cities guy. We always make fun of him.
Yeah, he's the cities guy, right? So everybody in my
What's his name,
department,
Jim?
I forgot his name. He's really well known though.
I know it. It's killing me. I gotta get
she's gonna go get the book. So so
it.
so
Richard Florida. How do we
Richard,
Yeah,
Florida,
Richard
right?
Florida.
how do
That's
we
right.
blank on that, Jim?
Yeah. So
Richard Florida. Isn't that
so
his name? Isn't that his name?
Yes,
yes. Yep.
yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
well, I read, so, you know, everybody in my department, because I was in the humanities, part of, in the humanities department, and every faculty person uh, read that book, you
Mm,
know. I mean, we brought it to the faculty meeting, you know, and discussed it, you know, because, yeah, I mean, it's, knowledge is power.
So we're bringing
yeah.
together these elements, and we've been making various lawmakers aware, organizations aware, um, um,
Well,
governance.
that's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, but
Thank you
I
for
think,
acknowledging that.
I
No, that's a
think
lot of work. I know, I understand completely. You know, I try to educate people on an infinitesimal scale compared to what you're talking about. And
it's got to
No.
start somewhere,
oh yeah,
small.
no, there's no question about it.
Yeah.
And you have to you know, build a village, so to speak, of people that are supportive of it. You know,
So
it needs momentum.
we came to Detroit to find out about the innovation district that they're developing.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
And
I've heard of it, but I haven't read too much about it.
that's because there hasn't been too much to read about.